am here in a tree. I am surrounded by the beautiful breath of air, a squirrel and a caterpillar near me, and I am out in nature. I am held, contained within nature, the elements moving around me, the tree that contains me, the land that I'm on, which is another form of containment. And I want to use this ability and this beautiful example of containment to communicate and invite you to this offering of learning through art, to walk upon this painted path of creation in which Jung said you are a creator and an educator. You are creating yourself. This great work of art alchemically embodied in this beautiful tree that roots deep into the earth and reaches to the heaven, whose rhizomal network communicate with the forest in which I am right now. This beautiful symbol of the collective, the archetypal roots, the psychic roots that connect us one to another. And to the need for containment. I have created in seeing through art this wide expanse. It's almost like Eden is a well-watered land in which the water pools out, waterfalls, pools, this expansive vista and landscape for you to get lost in. There's a saying about art that it helps you lose and find yourself. And you're learning in this cartographic way to find your way, to gather up these fragments. Jung said that he only wrote down this process, this path, that he so frequently walked in a fragmentary way. And seeing through art has all these beautiful mosaic-like gemstones that you can gather and make your own path. Learning through art is an adjunct to that, to help support you in going deep. If seeing through art is wide and expansive as a terrain within and without, populated by all these amazing quotes, all of this content that summarizes archetypal knowledge through the ages, then this, learning through art, is the application, the place where you really dig down, as Jung said, into the earth, into the chthonic, into the body, and a body of art, the body of the earth itself. Again, like this beautiful metaphor of the tree that I am in. A tree that is in homeostasis within and without. We are in exchange with the anima life breath, with this tree. It is this example of how to be in dynamic equilibrium, in relationship. A beautiful example of containment. And it was the primary symbol of my dissertation. It's the primary symbol that I'm using moving forward in learning through art. To be like a forest, one with another, we as humans, to individuate not out of but into community, communion, communitas, or sacred community. To be atoned with nature within and without, as Jung said, in different ways. To walk this animal path as the initiate of old, to return to nature within. This mystical participation with nature, participation mystique, that brings us again into ourselves and into this great work of art that is the world. Learning through art seeks to hold you on that path, to give you an element of containment that is lacking in seeing through art. Jung taught this path he so frequently walked to his patients within the analytic setting, and yet it was a path and a process that he wanted to make clear to a wider circle, and so we bring it as a pathway into the world. It's also a path and a process that we may need containment on. Psychic containment, soul containment, and certainly your soul is the primary containment. You are collaborating with the soul who is the teacher. If the Red Book is the school of the soul, as Jung said, certainly the soul is the teacher. And so connecting with your soul, rooting deep, rising up with these branches to the starlit heavens, embodying your soul and breathing and rooting in the body of the soul, as Hildegard of Bingen said, and Jung echoed, we are embodied in the soul as much as the soul is embodied in us. And yet, because Jung taught in the analytic setting, there was a containment, a temenos, or sacred space, an alchemical container. And that's what I'm seeking to hold in learning through art. To give you some of the different elements in a more personal and direct application that you can avail yourself of in all different levels. So there's an individual path or option for those who seek to go deep on their own. Perhaps those who are introverted. This was an alchemical introverted path, Marie-Louise von France said, with art. And it lends itself to that kind of deep dive of introversion. And yet, that aspect, as people met with Jung regularly, there was an aspect of containment. Jung himself had his soul, but he also had Tony Wolff, he had Emma. He had these different elements of containment. You may want the individual option of containment. Feel into it. Connect with your soul. Again, for me, in nature is a way for me to connect more directly, to facilitate that life breath that animates me, that allows me to understand or get to the root of my soul and her teaching. Whatever your process is, feel into, imagine into, envision into what of these different offerings, if any, call to you. This is a soul's calling. There are levels that have an introduction and a closing. So in a sense, helping to open and close a container for you in the process. Different periods of time that extend and build upon each other. They're meant to be like building blocks, so that you may need one, you may need a number, you may need them with spans of a year or more in between. It's meant to be malleable so that you can build the container from these parts that suits you. You can change paths if you want to begin by yourself with a little bit of containment, maybe the beginning and the end, or maybe a weekly or monthly containment. You can experience that. You may want to expand to the containment of a group. I found the containment of a group in my doctoral dissertation process profoundly meaningful. I also am convinced that group work is very much a part of how we individuate, individuating by ourselves, individuating in partnership, individuating in group process. This is a meaningful application. So feel into these levels of engagement, moving into a first and a second year, each with different curriculum for each week. Each will have video because that's how I am the most comfortable communicating with you. I feel the most embodied. There are these little moths and caterpillars and things that you probably can't see, but I feel the most activated as an image, being able to communicate with you in this way. So I will use video. There will be all different levels of resources that are available to you. Again, I'm trying to imagine in, based on my own experience of applying this process, teaching it in workshops, teaching it in college course, teaching it in these different ways to individuals and groups. I'm trying to give you levels of containment. Again, the soul in so many different ways spoke of a vessel. If you are a vessel for your soul, she will purify you. I am trying to help you imagine into the framework of creating this temenos or sacred space, this vessel, a mandala, but as a living, breathing, self-existing being of the soul in the world. So from this tree to you, with this living archetypal symbol of the beauty of creation, we are made in the image of the Creator to create. We are creating ourselves in creating this path. And we are critically forging a bridge not only from the past to the present to the future, antiquity to modernity, so that we can move in collaboration with nature. And very much this living curriculum of the natural world is a part of the School of the Soul. It is art to include this great work of art in which I am in this moment. As we move together, feel free to ask questions, feel free to inquire, first inquiring within yourself, inquiring of your soul in whatever way you have, formulating a path of approach for what that is. After you've done so, feel free to inquire with me. And this is meant to be a collaboration with myself and you, with you and your soul above and beyond, beneath everything else. And ultimately for us all to bridge and help each other widen this path, extend this path in height and depth like the beauty of this tree, so that we can all restore the balance of the natural world. That is my hope. That is the beauty of the containment, again, that is offered. Thank you.